Oh, yeah. I like that intro music. It's Ringside Report MMA. Welcome to the show. UFC Paris preview. Is Leon Edwards trying to get a fight with Jorge Masvidal and Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva in a boxing ring? Let's do it.
Let's go!
I like that music to bring us in. It was real funky. It was like, hey, everybody. Hey, let me take you on a funky journey. 1,000 miles away. All right, guys, what's happening? Hi, Fred. How you doing, buddy? Daddy.
I'm great.
Oh, yeah, you're my dad, right? Because the girl at jiu-jitsu thought you were my father.
No, actually, it's...
Is that why you have the daddy shirt? Oh, daddy of a princess. Oh, okay, okay. That would make you a king, right? Or maybe a prince, possibly.
Exactly.
I don't know. Does that make you a king necessarily? Not necessarily, because the Queen of England was married to a dude, and he wasn't the king. He was Prince Philip. He died.
Yeah, but my daughter has a shirt that says "daughter to a king," so to match my shirt. So that makes me a king.
King Fred. All right. I thought you were just wearing the daddy shirt because you're like, yeah, I'm Dave's father, because that's what people think, even though it is mathematically impossible. AJ, looking blurry and excited and blue as ever with a baguette.
Thanks.
Oh, I see what's going on. You got the baguette because they're in France. Do you speak or you just mute? There you go. Get your microphone near your face so I can actually hear you. It's like way far away. I don't know what you're doing right now. You're miming because that's what they do in France? I think that's like a stereotype. Get your thing near your face, AJ. Get it closer to your face. There you go.
Bill Clinton, man? You think of Bill Clinton with Monica Lewinsky? Listen, can you hear me or not?
I can hear you. I think you screwed up your microphone in the time where we talked before the show and then started the show here. Like, tap on your microphone. I don't think your voice is coming from... Oh, yeah, it is. All right, it's working. Maybe it's just garbage.
What the hell,
Why is it so fluorescent green? All right.
I don't know, man. You're so shiny.
Oh, yeah, this is my new headphones,
you
man.
look like
Check them out.
radioactive.
Yeah, AJ, you look radioactive, man.
Exactly, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
But it's not a compliment.
No. Watch out,
motherfucker.
radioactive man.
Listen, man. I'm looking on myself on the screen. It looks good.
Look out, good, radioactive man. What's the quote?
Listen, man.
You know, radioactive man and Fallout Boy.
I have no idea.
Simpsons?
I just know.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm bringing all the French shit out.
Oh, you got
Remy Martin and Baguette Street. You can't forget the pears.
Pears?
Well, yeah, man. French love pears, man.
Really?
Hey.
I guess so.
I don't know about that.
I'll tell you, man.
I've got French blood. I don't really.
No. That doesn't count, you. That is no. French Quebecois blood is not the same, dude.
No, French from France. French from France.
You? No. It's impossible. C'est pas possible.
My grandfather was half Vietnamese and half French from France. And then he spent time in his youth in France. He's from France. I have family members, cousins that live in France that are French citizens. Well, what are you talking about? AJ's like, nah. Every family member that you have is fully Italian, and you're like doubting my history.
Listen, no, you know what I said before the show started. You should have been wearing your French T-shirt from France, singing the French national anthem.
See, I'm always ready with something. I always have something. I could get something right here with me because there's always French stuff around because I support the French national soccer team.
Hey,
hold on.
Look at me, man. Can you beat a baguette? Freddie, what do you have? Le roi de France?
Enfant de la patrie, un jour de gloire est arrivé.
Contre nous de la tyrannie, les tendances sont élevées. Let's go, baby.
Les tendances.
I got the scarf ready to go right here.
Always. Okay, bud. You got me.
Come on. Don't mess with me right
here. You got me, bud. You got me.
France.
And
we're going to Paris this weekend. Ciryl Gane against Tai Tuivasa in the main event.
On him, man.
Huh?
Yeah, what's up with that?
On Mbappe, so
But did Pogba put a curse on Ciryl Gane, the Ciryl Ganes? I don't think so. Le bon gamin.
I don't think so, man.
Le bon gamin. Let's go.
What's up with that, Freddie? I missed that. Was that true? Like, what's all that about?
What?
Well, Paul Pogba's brother tried to extort him of money, and since Pogba first of all supposedly gave him $100,000 to start to try to shut him up, and then he asked for $13 million euro, 13 million euros, and Pogba said no, and then his brother came out with a video where he said a bunch of things on Pogba, including that supposedly he put a curse on Mbappe. Paul Pogba put a curse on Mbappe. Why? I don't know. But like I told Dave,
and they both play for the French national team, in case you're not aware.
And I feel like next time they're in the dressing room, man, fucking Mbappe has to go slap him. Like if Will Smith went to slap Chris Rock over that comment, man, you got to slap somebody over a curse, man. If somebody's
bop him upside the head.
Yeah, man. Somebody puts a curse on you, man, and I feel the rest of the team should back up Mbappe, man. How the fuck do you put a curse on your best player? That's not smart.
AJ, we're hearing like feedback from your end, man.
What are you listening? What are you
like
hearing?
Headphones aren't tight enough or something.
What do you think I have, man?
There you go.
Can you hear me?
I think it's a little better now. I don't know. You gotta get it together, AJ. We got UFC. UFC Paris coming up. So the soccer, I don't understand this soccer story here. So Paul Pogba, who's a soccer player, his brother was trying to extort him of money.
Yep.
But how? Because he had information about him?
Yep. That Pogba did a bunch of stuff, including putting a curse on Mbappe. That's the big revelation.
But why? Pogba's such a great player himself. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he's not that good.
He's probably worth a lot of money, though. You know, that happens sometimes when, like, one family member makes, like, a ridiculous amount of money and other family members are just laying there.
Yeah, well, his brother, his name is Matthias, I'm not sure. Well, he plays in, like, 4th division soccer. And from what also I read from the story, supposedly Pogba told the team that he would be covering his brother's salary, but he didn't in the end, so that caused also some friction. And
Well, weird soccer stories. I don't know anything about that type of stuff. I'm following MMA. I'm following what's going on in the UFC. We got Ciryl Gane fighting against Tai Tuivasa in the main event. You got Marvin Vettori against Robert Whittaker in the co-main event. And we got some other fights here. Of course, Charles Air Jourdain taking on Nathaniel Wood. Charles Jourdain from here in Montreal. We got John McDessie, who's from Montreal as well, taking on Nasrat Haqparast. So some big fights here that we're going to talk about in a little bit on the show. But I want to start with something that's got me excited. Jake Paul and Anderson Silva.
What's up with that shit?
Let's go. It looks like it's happening. Looks like they're going to have a boxing match. Jake Paul and Anderson Silva.
We called that a long time ago that it would happen. We said it, that eventually it's going to come down to this. Like the greatest in MMA fighting, like the greatest in boxing at the moment, Jake Paul. And you know what? It's going to be that's a must watch along. You know that. I know Angelo's going to watch along. No matter how much he complains, he's become a Jake Paul fan. I know that for a fact. This is crazy, dude. And you know what? I mean, I think Jake Paul is like chewed more than he can bite here. Because
bit off more than he can chew.
Or bit more off than he can chew. Either or, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that works too. All I'm saying is that he's fighting Anderson Silva, who's a very skilled boxer, who's boxed like pros just recently and actually won like hands down, man. This guy can box. Pre-MMA, he was doing boxing.
Yeah, but who did he beat? Tito Ortiz? Or am I? No, he beats. Yeah, it's true.
Chavez Jr.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. But you know what I'm saying? You're fighting. But before Chavez Jr., back like in Brazil and whatnot, he was still fighting like boxing fights. The guy is very skilled as a boxer, and you can see that in his matches. The guy has everything, you know, to beat Jake Paul. I don't think this is Jake Paul's best fight pick. The only difference here is age. That's all, man. And if Anderson Silva comes in here not prepared, Jake Paul's going to beat him because of his age. But other than that, man, I mean, he's a bigger guy. He's bigger than Jake. He's probably quicker on the jab than Jake. What Jake Paul has is that power punch that once he gets in that pocket and he throws that right hook, he can knock you out. But it's going to be hard to get into Silva with his size.
He's not touching him.
He's not touching him.
He's not touching him whatsoever. It's Anderson Silva. I don't think so. I think this is going to be a Jake Paul, the end here. This is if this is the fight, this is where Anderson puts a stop to a lot of this hype and a lot of this excitement. I think this is where Anderson Silva comes through and puts a beating on Jake Paul. I think he's going to knock him out. I think he's going to put him out. If this fight goes a professional fight, 10, 12 rounds, I don't think Jake Paul can last 10 or 12 rounds with Anderson Silva, who really wants to put him out. If Anderson Silva comes in motivated, he's going to smash Jake Paul. I mean, this is a different type of fight for Jake Paul. He's not fighting a guy who fought most of his career at 170 pounds like Ben Askren or Tyron Woodley. Anderson Silva is a much bigger guy. He's roughly Paul's size, but this is the first time Paul has fought anybody his size. So yeah, he's probably a little bit bigger. Anderson fought at 185. He was the king, and of course he fought at 205 a few times as well and beat some former champions in that division. So Anderson Silva is, of course, 48 years old at this point. He's not
47.
Okay, he's not peak Anderson Silva anymore, but man, he's still Anderson Silva. He still has a lot of those skills, and standing up in a just pure boxing match, we've seen what he's been able to do over the past couple of years outside of the UFC now, and it's been pretty impressive because Anderson Silva is one of these guys that people, make a good argument for being the greatest of all time in mixed martial arts. He's just ridiculously skilled on another level when it comes to the striking game primarily. That's where he won fights, with ridiculous knockouts. There were, some moments of jiu-jitsu in there as well, but most of the time the highlights of Anderson Silva, those are knockout highlights, and his hands did a lot of that work. Slipping punches, landing heavy shots with perfect precision. I think Jake Paul, if this is the fight, he's in for a real fight. Finally, that's a real fight for Jake Paul, because Woodley and Askren, those guys were wrestlers that fought at 170. This is Anderson Silva, who's a striker. And yes, he's
a boxer.
He's much older. He's like 20 years older than Jake Paul, but he's also got a lot of experience, and he's Anderson Silva. It's different. It's not Tyron Woodley. It's Anderson Silva. So I like this fight a lot. I really hope it gets done, because I'd like to see Anderson be the guy to finish Jake Paul. I'd like to see, Jake Paul running, beating people, running his mouth, being obnoxious. It's cool. It's a fun act. But for Anderson Silva to be kind of done with the UFC, looks like he's done as an MMA fighter, looks like he's done as a professional fighter altogether, for him to be the guy to silence Jake Paul, for him to be the guy to get that shine, I think would be a great end of the Anderson Silva story, end of the movie that is Anderson Silva's life, because the man is a legend, and I have so much love and respect and admiration for Anderson Silva. I think that he is just fantastic. He's what you should aspire to be. Of course, there were those, PED things that snags that he ran into, but I'm not really sure what went on there. I kind of forgive that with Anderson Silva, because he's magical. There's no amount of PEDs that can give you the magic that Anderson Silva had in the octagon. It doesn't exist. Like the timing, the ability, the skill. PEDs probably help if he was on them, but man,
listen, John Jones agrees with you.
It's on another level, man.
John Jones agrees, man. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm sorry, Freddie, to jump in, but I'm going to tell you something. Silva is actually pretty active. If it was Silva not fighting in the last 3-4 years and then getting into this match with Jake Paul, I'd be like, oh man, Anderson, I don't think you're going to have it. But if you're looking in 2021, he's had 2 boxing matches and he had an MMA fight. He knocked out Tito Ortiz in just 1 minute and 22 seconds. He won against Julio Chavez as a split decision, which was really not split at all.
You
it was
can say
pretty
Julio,
unanimous.
but that's all right.
Yeah, Julio. What did I say? Julio,
because you're thinking of your brother, Julio D'Alessio.
No, we
Shout
actually
out
call
Julio.
we call him Julio, man. But the thing is that he fought against Bruno Machado as well. So the guy's been active, man. You know, in 2021, the guy to 2022 has been very active. The only difference, like I said, is you got Jake Paul, 25 years old. You got Anderson Silva at 47. Look, you know, if it really gets messy in the first rounds where there's a lot of like, you know, a real telephone booth fight where it's just like a lot of clinching and a lot of combinations thrown and it's just getting heavy, maybe it'll wear out Anderson Silva if it goes to the latter rounds, and that's where Jake can actually come out and take advantage of him. But that's the only way I can see Jake Paul winning is by overwhelming Anderson Silva right off the bat. He's going to have to commit and really like know that he can get knocked out. Once he gets into that pocket, he can get knocked out.
That's going to play in Spider's game plan, I think. Because I think Spider's probably going to start passive as he starts often. He's going to try to learn to read Jake Paul. And once he gets his timing in, maybe a round or two, maybe a little bit more, because Anderson likes, you know, he's an artiste, man. You can't really, like, shake him too much. You know, you got to let him do his stuff. So once he learns those distances, those timing, I expect him to win pretty easily, but hey, props. Like, it's not official yet, and I hope it really does happen. And if it does happen, man, props to Jake Paul, man. This is a step up in competition, and nobody could say anything about that. So if he ends up beating Anderson Silva, everybody has to like still applaud him, but I doubt it happens.
Look, Jake Paul knows one thing. He's going into this fight as an underdog, and that's the thing. This is the first time he's going in there thinking that he is the underdog. The betting companies are all putting him as the underdog. And you're right, Freddie. If Jake Paul actually comes out and beats Anderson Silva in a fight that's actually combative and he wins impressively, you got to give it to Jake Paul. The kid is 5-0. He's been pretty impressive. He's beat like champions. The guy is on a roll. And you beat a guy like Anderson Silva, for sure there's going to be a lot of people out there saying, wait, hold on a second. The guy's 47 years old. He's past his prime. Yeah, and they're right about that. But Jake Paul will never get the credit that he deserves. But if he beats Anderson, he might get some of it. But
he won't do it, though.
But he needs to.
I see no way he does
a legitimate boxer that is skilled. You know, I wish Matt Kazavan was able to say a few words on that, because what it comes down to is this. You to be the best in boxing, you have to beat the best in boxing. You know, we're going after a lot of guys in MMA that are not boxers, as we saw with, like, well, I don't want to say Tyron Woodley was not a boxer. He was a brawler that had a knockout punch to take you out. But he was not a boxer. He was a very boxy guy in boxing, which is far from being a good boxer.
Okay.
But, you know, until he beats a legitimate boxer, you know, that it's actually like active,
so
who's
you're
in the
saying,
game, same
what
size.
You're saying is, even if he beats Anderson Silva, you don't think people will give him credit until he beats like a legit boxer.
Yes, in the boxing world, they won't give him credit. You know, and it's time for someone to stand up. Fury was able to do it, and then he backed out. So you know what? It's not good for boxing. That wasn't a great move for Fury not to fight Jake Paul. You know, it took a step back for boxing, and people were like, you know, like
I don't think Fury represents boxing.
But it doesn't matter. He's a legitimate boxer. He's not an MMA guy. He's not a wrestler. He's not a jiu-jitsu guy. He's a boxer. And regardless, he has the world's best boxing brother. The guy has a great team.
Yeah, but he's the brother of. It's like, it's boring, man. Like, Jake Paul fans aren't interested in sport or competition. If they were, they'd just watch boxing and not Jake Paul. People that watch Jake Paul want to see Jake Paul fight other celebrities or at least famous fighters. It's not about fighting the brother of a guy or fighting the son of a guy. It's about fighting a guy. And Jake Paul was going to fight the brother of Tyson Fury and the son of Hasim Rahman, and it was like, I'm not that into it. But Jake Paul fighting a guy like Anderson Silva, who is a legend in his own right, who made a name in the UFC, I'm into that. And that's what you want in a Jake Paul fight. You want headlines. You want box office. You don't want skill and competition. Who gives a shit about skill and competition? That's not what Jake Paul is about. The Jake Paul business model is about glitz and glamour and celebrity boxing on a higher level. It's not about, the best boxers fighting whoever, because he's not in that league. That's not what he does. He does big pay-per-views. It's a different thing. It's not about boxing.
In boxing, there's no professional boxer with only 5 fights on their record that's, like a contender. That just doesn't happen in boxing. So I'll keep on giving props to me, Anderson Silva being his 6th opponent. I got no clue who Canelo fought for his 6th opponent, but I bet he's a shittier fighter than Anderson Silva. So for Jake Paul to fight Anderson Silva, good, man. Anderson Silva's old, but no, that's a good step up in competition. And from there, nobody expects him to beat Anderson Silva, but if he were to do it, then from there, you take another step, and soon enough, you'll be fighting some real boxers. But let's not forget, this guy only has 5 boxing pro fights, man. Let's not ask him to fight like a top pro, man. That'd be ridiculous.
Man,
there you go.
You said something, and you're right, Freddie, and I totally agree with you. But if you want to legitimize what you're doing, which is boxing.
This paycheck legitimizes everything.
Sure, I agree with you, because these guys that fought Jake Paul made more money fighting Jake Paul than they did in their former associations, being at the UFC or whatever organization. But Jake Paul makes you rich, and Jake Paul is going to make Anderson Silva a lot richer to go into retirement, and his whole family is going to be taken care of for generations. But what we're going to see in the long run is this. We're going to see Jake Paul fighting. We're going to see Jake Paul fighting. Little AJ is back. He's going to be. You fight Jake Paul one day, but you fight Jake Paul. Lucy, come and get him. Let's go.
Wow.
Sorry, guys. Little AJ busted in again. You heard Canelo, you heard Jake Paul.
That's okay.
What I'm trying to get at.
What are you trying to get at? I never know. Yes?
Jake Paul will be he's a respected guy right now, but he won't be totally respected in the sports world till he fights a boxing guy. Okay?
I don't think respect in the sports world is what matters for Jake Paul. I think what matters is money off pay-per-views. I don't think it really matters whatsoever.
I disagree with you.
Something went wrong with your volume.
With mine?
No, AJ.
AJ's. Oh,
yeah, that's all right. We're trying to fix AJ's mic right now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say, Dave, is I kind of disagree with you on that. I think Jake Paul, I do, man. I really believe Jake Paul has put in so much time in the ring. He's actually getting better and better with each fight. There's no doubt about it. This guy has the money, the resources, the coaches, the gym to become a great fighter. And we talked about this
yourself. He hasn't fought a top 20 boxer. He hasn't fought a top 50 boxer.
But this is the difference with Jake Paul. His orientation into boxing, he's fighting guys at world-class levels and he's beating them. The guy is going to be going into his 6th fight, and every guy that he's fought out of the 6 are all known guys worldwide. It's not like guys like Canelo. You can't even remember who Canelo probably fought in his last 5 fights, but you'll never remember who he fought in his first 5 fights, even in boxing. That's the thing, is that Jake Paul is building himself a name.
What the hell
to eventually, I'm telling you, Jake Paul is going. Listen, man, he's fought everybody, man, from Ben Askren to Tyron Woodley.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Dave, it's simple, man. The first 5 guys that he's fought are guys that everybody knows. And that's the difference. Eventually, he's going to build himself up to fight somebody who's legitimate in boxing. He's not going to fight a nobody.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, he's going to fight
the guy that no one knows. You're trying to tell me
he's gonna
that
fight,
nobody knows
he's gonna
the
fight
last
somebody.
5. Hold on. You just said nobody knows the last 5 opponents of Canelo Alvarez, which I'll agree with you. I do not, because they're boxing guys that no one knows, because boxing guys are relatively unknown and they don't do a good job of making stars in that sport. And then you go,
unless they're Mike Tyson,
and then, or Canelo Alvarez, or there's a few of them, but really boxing guys are pretty much unknown for the most part. So yeah, I'll give it to you. So what you're telling me is Jake Paul is working way up his way up through known MMA fighters to eventually fight a boxing guy that nobody knows and everybody will forget, to gain the respect of the small audience that is the hardcore boxing fan, that even if he beats one of the boxing guys, will still never give him the respect because they'll make excuses for the boxing guy. I mean, what are you saying to me? I don't really get your point.
That's exactly what I'm saying to you. Eventually, listen, that small market that you talked about is where it legitimizes his whole career and everything that he's done. Listen, Jake Paul he doesn't need the money, dude. He's got more money than anything. He called out Conor McGregor for $50 million to fight. The check was ready, process to go. The guy has money. He doesn't need money. Right now, this guy is actually going to fight to be legitimate. And that's what's going to happen. There's going to be a time where Jake Paul is going to fight a known boxer who hasn't retired. And you know what? That's where it's going to legitimize him. Even if he loses and he loses well, man, you know, people are going to give him respect. But right now, if he beats Anderson Silva, he's on the road to being respected in both MMA and in boxing.
And to fight somebody that no one's ever heard of, and a fight that nobody will pay for.
Listen, man, let's say he wants to fight Canelo. Listen, let's say he wants to fight Canelo. Or he wants to fight a guy like Triple G, man. You know what? People from the boxing world are going to come out to see that.
That's not going to happen. He's not going to go from Anderson to Triple G.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, he might. And I'm telling you, he'll call it out because the money is there.
Those guys want money.
They want money. Yeah, exactly. It all comes down to money in boxing. That's why Mayweather is the greatest at promotions.
Well, Fred, you say that, but his brother Logan fought Mayweather and didn't get completely murdered. You know, the fight happened.
He was a giant.
Mayweather.
Yeah,
he was a giant.
Well, Jake Paul would be much larger than Canelo. Canelo's not that big.
No, Canelo's a pretty big guy.
Yeah, he's not small. He's smaller than Jake Paul. But, man, look, if Jake Paul fights Canelo, now we're talking money, man. Now we're talking business. This is where I would be like, holy shit. This is going to go down, and it's going to bring the boxing world out to see that. And they expect Canelo to destroy Anderson. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Freak show against Anderson.
Yeah,
and that's probably where the freak show ends.
No, Anderson man, we've already said that
Anderson
5 fights
ago. Not taking a dive,
Freddie.
For
we said,
Paul.
Freddie, we said that 5 fights prior, man. That let's see the circus, and it's going to end after that first fight, and it hasn't. In fact, it only got greater and stronger, and more people want to see Jake Paul. You know. Jake Paul's fight with Anderson Silva is going to be a strong watch-along. Dave knows that. Our viewership is going to go, like, through the roof. We know that. Jake Paul sells, man. He's the Conor McGregor, man, of the boxing world right now.
Come on, guys. You're going to tell me that Canelo is a big guy? This guy just lost to Dimitri Bivol, by decision.
Yeah, it wasn't his best fight. It wasn't his best fight.
At light heavyweight, at 175, 178. That's not big. Anderson
How much is Jake Paul? Where does he fight?
Like 195?
Yeah, he's about 6'2", Freddie.
He's like
tall,
6'2". Canelo's 5'8". Yeah. There's a big difference in size there.
There is, but it's just the skill level.
And Canelo lost at 178. That was too big for him. He usually fights smaller than that. So Jake Paul will be much bigger than him. That, if Jake Paul beats Anderson Silva and maybe beats a couple other guys, who knows? That fight is not out of the realm of possibility. And that, to me, is like, you know, that's a more winnable fight almost for Jake Paul because of the size difference. Anderson being as big as him is a real problem for Jake Paul.
Yeah.
It's such a big size difference with Canelo and Jake Paul that I think it might be, you know, I mean, Canelo should win, but because he's so much bigger, Jake Paul might survive. But because Anderson is roughly Jake Paul's size, he's got the power there, Jake Paul might not survive. So we'll see. We'll see. I've got Anderson Silva. I'm hoping he wins. I really am. I can't lie to you guys. I'm hoping Anderson wins because I love Anderson. I like Jake Paul too, though. I think he's all right. But like, I wanted him to beat Woodley. I thought that was cool. But I can't see Anderson get knocked out like that. It would be too sad. I love Anderson too much, and I've seen him in too much pain in the UFC. Once you see a man cry a couple times in the UFC because of injuries, it's like, all right, I only want to see happy moments from here on in for the GOAT.
Well, his injuries were like horrific, man. Like those are injuries that I still remember, and I'm like, I cringe every time I want to kick a bag nowadays. Like I'm like, oh man, please don't do an Anderson. I mean, that's Anderson Silva, but look, it's going to be an interesting fight. I'm just happy for Anderson because he's going to get a good payday, and we don't have to see his leg snap. That's the
there you go. He doesn't have to throw leg kicks or anything. Okay, speaking of paydays, Leon Edwards is looking for a payday. He wants to fight Jorge Masvidal. It seems like he's trying to get a Masvidal fight. Of course, they had that thing in England a few years ago where Masvidal punched him in the face after they were talking shit to each other during an interview. They both had fought, and Edwards was saying some stuff to Masvidal, and Masvidal punched him in the face. And now that Leon Edwards is the UFC welterweight champion, I think he's looking to get a big money fight. Jorge Masvidal is looking to fight Leon Edwards. And, you know, there's some talk and there's some interest. But I think Kamaru Usman is the fight, right? Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, that seems to be the fight. Kamaru Usman is opened as a favorite in that fight. I feel like that's the rematch you kind of have to make. After it being 1-1 in their trilogy here, Kamaru Usman doing so well in that fight up until the one kick, you kind of have to give the long-reigning champion a rematch, even though people like Jorge Masvidal. It might sell more than Leon Edwards, than Leon and Kamaru, Jorge and Leon, but I don't think that's right. I think it's got to be Kamaru and Leon. But if you're Leon Edwards, big money fight, maybe a bigger money fight. It's you get pay-per-view points because you're champion. And it's probably a much easier fight than Kamaru Usman, too. So you can't
probably like your chances.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame a guy for trying. He got punched in the face. He never got to get revenge off of that. He has the chance now as a champion to kind of ask for some things. They're doing big business in England, and they know that they do huge business for Leon and Masvidal. The pay-per-view would be big money. Leon knows that the Masvidal fight is a less challenging fight than Kamaru Usman at this stage in the game. I could see why Leon might want that fight. But, come on. I don't think the UFC is going to do that.
Exactly, man. And to be honest, it's not fair for Usman. Like, with the fight that he had, that technically, I would say he won if it wasn't for Herb Dean. Well, listen, man, if it wasn't for Herb Dean to separate them at 55 seconds left in the fight, it would have been a different story. There was no reason. Herb Dean messed up. Herb Dean messed up Usman's chance to become like a legend, unbeatable. And you know what? It's unfair for Usman. And if Usman doesn't get this fight, it would be a shame because the next fight that they have, you know what? It's going to be exactly that. Usman's going to take back his belt. And listen, no disrespect to Leon Edwards. He survived till the end, but he did not look like a guy who was a champion at the end. He got that lucky kick, and that's exactly what it was. It wasn't only a lucky kick. He got a lucky call from Herb Dean. Herb Dean made him champion. Let's be honest.
The call, I agree, was a little bullshit, but the kick, he got it, man. Give him that's not a lucky kick. That's a kick, man. That's a knockout.
It was a setup. I'll give you that. But because of the disturbance of Herb Dean to take out the flow, which Usman was in the clinch, he was doing exactly what he needs to do to end the fight. Herb Dean
I hate when the ref gets involved. The ref, I feel like.
Yeah, but he's notorious.
It's really no action. There should never be a separation from the ref.
Well, we just saw the fight that was prior, Mr. Feely. That was nothing more that we were talking about. That was just a complete drag and hold a game through all rounds, and there wasn't any really separation in a sense with that fight. There's no way that a ref has to come in on a championship fight with less than a minute to go. I don't know what he was thinking, but it was enough to make the result what it was. It was a bad way for Usman to lose. And you know what? There's no one more deserving to get back his belt than Usman. And I like to see Masvidal fight, but you're right. Leon Edwards is going to smash Masvidal. There's no doubt about it.
This is what I'm saying. If I'm Leon Edwards, I'm saying I'm ready to fight in 3 months, UFC. And if Usman's ready, great. If not, man, give him Masvidal. Like, if you're Edwards right now, you tell the UFC, I want to fight in 3 months, man. I'm ready. I want to fight.
If you are ready to
go. Yeah, but you won't be ready.
If you are, but
won't be ready.
Edwards, he's been fighting like once a year. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be ready to go in 3 months, but I think that's the move. I think you're right, Fred. If he wants that fight, he's going to have to take it. But then, he might have to take that Kamaru Usman fight 3 months after that, and that's a tough turnaround. But the UFC, that's how it goes sometimes. But when you're the new champion, you're trying to stake your claim, plant your flag.
Listen, it's a good point by Freddie there, because and you're right. That would be great money for Leon Edwards, and it'd be great for the fight fans to see the Masvidal Edwards kind of rivalry. There is some hatred behind that. Yeah. I don't see Masvidal being able to beat Leon Edwards, no matter how much he looked against Usman on the last fight. But it would be perfect timing within the next 3 months to get that fight, because we know that Usman, with the kick to the head, with the knockout, and it's going to take about, I think it's 6 months if I'm not mistaken, because of a head kick. So it's perfect. You got Leon Edwards being able to defend his belt, make some extra money, and then build up that hype for Usman to come back and claim his stake, And that's what's going to happen, man. No doubt about it.
Jorge Masvidal made a point on Twitter saying, I remember another British champion who got to call his shots and get revenge in his first title defense. And I don't know why Leon Edwards couldn't get the same, kind of making the case for himself and Leon Edwards, because there's bad blood. When Michael Bisping won the championship back in 2016 over Luke Rockhold, his very first title defense was against Dan Henderson in Manchester, England, because there had been bad blood between Henderson and Bisping, with the knockout of Bisping that happened, UFC 100, right, Fred? 100. You were there. Yeah.
Yep.
That was a classic knockout. Dan Henderson made it the logo for his gym, posterizing Michael Bisping and just crushing him. So when Bisping won the title, he realized, okay, here's my chance at revenge, and I could get the UFC to, because it's a big fight. Dan Henderson's a big name, but he was not next in line for a title shot. Henderson was not there, but the UFC kind of said, okay, well, we know we're going to do big business in Manchester with this fight. We know there's this rivalry with Henderson. They did the Ultimate Fighter against each other. Then they had the UFC 100 fight where Bisping got knocked out. It was a very famous fight, and they ran it back for the title. And Henderson, he had no reason to accept a fight with Bisping before that, but all of a sudden Bisping's champion, so he's got a reason to fight him. He beat him before. Bisping wanted to fight Henderson because he wanted the revenge, and he got his revenge. He beat him 5 rounds, unanimous decision for his only title defense in his hometown of Manchester. So it was a big deal for Bisping. He turned around and lost the title to George St. Pierre in his very next defense about a year later, which even there, Bisping kind of got to call his shot and fight GSP instead of Robert Whittaker, right? There was people saying, Whittaker is the #1 contender here, but GSP kind of slid in after 4 years off and said, hey, I'm GSP. And we all said, well, yeah, that makes sense. And then he won, and it was amazing. What an awesome guy GSP is. Oh, man, George. George is the best ever. So Bisping, he got to call his shot with Henderson. Should Leon Edwards get the same deal here? Is there a case to be made? Okay, give him the shot with Masvidal. Bisping got to do it, but Bisping had been with the company for a long time. He's had ups and downs. He took fights on short notice. He did favors for the UFC. He'd been around the UFC. When he became champion, he'd been in the UFC for, 10 years? 10 years. He was on Ultimate Fighter Season 3.
In England. He helped. He helped the market over there.
Edwards is probably the biggest draw in England right now and might help the market.
Look, man,
I'm down for Patty as well, man.
Patty the Batty.
Patty the Batty, man. Let's not forget. Meatball as well. I mean, there's a lot of fighters coming out of England that are making a push in that market. Yeah. And they love combat in England, man. There's the crowd, but
I think when it comes down to it,
they'll sell out.
Leon Edwards just does not have the stroke in the UFC that Michael Bisping had in 2016 when he became champion. When Bisping became champion, he had his ups and downs. He fought everybody. He lost. He won. He became champion. It was kind of like a nice story.
But if Usman cannot get cleared because of that concussion, because he got knocked out, so they probably think he has a concussion, which is the medical suspension. If he doesn't get cleared quick for that, man, like I say, Edwards, man, just tell him you're ready to fight, man. And if Masvidal's available, man, that they might make it simply on the fact that, hey, we got a title fight here we can make, and it's pretty easy to sell, so it could still make sense for everybody.
Yep, if they can do it, quick turnaround, I say go ahead. Why not do a big pay-per-view in England, let Leon Edwards and Masvidal settle their differences, give Masvidal one more payday on his road to retirement, you would think, at some point. Want to give a shout-out to Angelo Contagones in the chat. What's up, Angelo? Patrick C. Hamilton as well. He says Fury will be at the WWE pay-per-view in Wales. He had a lot of rumors that Tyson Fury, the brother of the other Fury, what was his name, Tommy Fury is going to be at the Clash at the Castle on Saturday in Wales, and that's going to be a big event for the WWE. I think it's like 60,000, 70,000 people in a big open-air stadium in Wales on Saturday afternoon. We will be on here right after Clash at the Castle. Myself and Johnny North, we're actually going to be watching Clash at the Castle together. We're able to watch it together, and for the first time since before the pandemic, Johnny and I will be in studio together for the Clash at the Castle post show. It's been a long time. For some reason, we haven't been able to get it together, but Johnny is back with me in studio on Saturday. We're going to have a Clash at the Castle viewing, and then we'll be back right after Clash at the Castle together to talk about that, and then we'll be back again Sunday night for more pro wrestling here on the Ringside Report Network. We've got the AEW All Out post show, AEW All Out going down in Chicago on Sunday night. We'll be on here late Sunday night. Myself, my brother, and Johnny North. Myself and my brother will be here. I think Johnny will be back at his home studio. But we'll be here covering both pro wrestling pay-per-views this weekend, a big weekend in professional wrestling. WWE's Clash at the Castle and AEW's All Out will be here to recap all the action after each show this weekend. So looking forward to that. WWE and the UFC once again doing shows at the same time. This UFC Paris show going down at the same time as WWE Clash at the Cas. So that'll be going back and forth, but I think I'll be primarily watching Clash at the Castle. There are some fights I do want to see here. Of course, Charles Jourdain taking on Nathaniel Wood. That's a big one. Charles coming in as the betting favorite, which I always like to see. I like when Charles is supposed to win. That's a fight I want to see. And I think he will win.
It's a tough fight, man. It's not going to be an easy walk-through fight. I mean, it's going to be very similar to the Burgos fight, where I think Jourdain won, in my opinion. And a lot of people thought so. Everyone that watched that fight thought Jourdain won. Not to say that because he's from Montreal and whatnot, but Jourdain got screwed on that last fight. But this is going to be a hard one, man. It's going to be a tough fight. It's going to go the distance. Jourdain's the favorite, but he's got to be careful. He's got to be careful. I mean, Nathaniel he's a good striker. He's got great wrestling takedown, whatever. I mean, he's got it all. The only thing that he has to be careful of is that Jourdain, man, when he comes out to fight, you got to knock this guy down and kill him, because he's not going to go down lightly. And it's going to be an interesting fight. But like I said, Jourdain has the skills to be able to really get into Nathaniel's head and really knock him out. If I don't see a knockout, it's going to go to distance and it'll be a decision, which I kind of see more than a knockout in this fight.
Nathaniel Wood has been knocked out before in the UFC. John Dodson knocked him out in 2020. I think Charles Jourdain has the power to do it. He's got the fire. I like Charles Jourdain in a major way here on Saturday afternoon. He's going to be on the Team Dave parlay for sure. How about the main event? Ciryl Gane taking on Tai Tuivasa. The technical striking of Ciryl Gane in his hometown of Paris, France. This is the first UFC show ever in Paris. Of course, MMA was illegal in that country up until very recently, so happy to finally see MMA in another big city around the world, Paris, France. I know a lot of fighters, a lot of fight fans out in Paris are very excited. A lot of people have been waiting for this for a long time. Fred, I know you kind of had like some insight on the French MMA scene, like in France for a while. I know you ran like a French MMA website for a while, and there was a lot of traffic from France, right?
Yeah. I think the biggest reason why it took so long for MMA to be legal in France is probably because they got a old school mentality where in the martial arts world, it's judo over there that has a lot of control, and they didn't want to give their space. And people here in Canada go judo, but in France, judo is pretty big and it's very popular. And, you know, they when it comes to politics, they're the ones that had like power in politics when it came to the sports rules and everything. So it took a little bit of time for MMA to get legalized in France, but now that, like I've always said, everywhere, it's bound to happen, and it happened now in France, and props to them. They should have a good show, man. They got some nice fighters, man. Ciryl Gane, man. That guy should have like a full arena, I hope, on Saturday of crazy Frenchmen cheering his name, man. He deserves it, and I hope that's what we see.
Yeah, people don't necessarily think of martial arts when they think of France, but you say judo, you know, there's a rich tradition of judo. Again, of course, savate, right? Another French martial art that's like huge over there. It's where it comes from, right? So
even kickboxing has a little space over there.
Yeah,
with Jerome karate back in the days, and they had
Cyril Diabate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he was a great kickboxer.
Yeah, he was amazing. He fought in the UFC as well. Like there's a rich tradition of martial arts in France, and you know, it did take a long time, but I know that the people were out there demanding it. So I'm happy to see finally the country of France getting a UFC show, because you know, I know for a long time people in that country have been demanding it. So good for them. Nice to see them not only get a card, but a good card too. I mean, Ciryl Gane and Tai Tuivasa in the main event. You got Robert Whittaker against Marvin Vettori, a former champion against a former title challenger here at middleweight. That's a good main and co-main event. You know, those are two fights that they could headline. I mean, the Gane fight is headlining this fight night card, right? But Whittaker and Vettori could headline a fight night card too. I mean, these are two big-time fights, so it's good that the UFC gave them this. And, I mean, Ciryl Gane, Tai Tuivasa, this could be an interim heavyweight title fight, right? I mean, you wonder how long Francis Ngannou is going to be out for, but you look at Tai Tuivasa and the run that he's on, you look at Ciryl Gane and what he's accomplished in the UFC. These two are at the very top of this division, and I think whoever wins this fight puts himself in a very good position for a title shot, right? Francis Ngannou is out there. Stipe Miocic and Jon Jones may fight, although the UFC hasn't announced a goddamn thing. I'm kind of waiting on that, and it makes me wonder where the UFC heavyweight division is. What's the title picture right now? When Francis Ngannou is healthy and he's back from knee surgery next year at some point.
Does he have a contract?
Does he have a contract? And who does he fight if he has a contract? Like, who does he fight? Is it Jon Jones? I mean, how does that line up? Is Jon Jones going to fight Stipe Miocic, say, by the end of the year, and then be ready for a fight sometime next year against Francis Ngannou? Is that because we haven't seen Jon Jones in years now, and there's been talk about his heavyweight debut. You see the pictures of him training and bulked up, and all the talk on Twitter and talk. And I know he's working, but I haven't seen him in the UFC octagon. So. And the UFC isn't making any kind of announcements. They seem like they're trying to make the fight happen, but there's snags along the way, and I'm not really sure what those snags are. I don't know what is taking so long. I don't know what the situation is at heavyweight. It seems like maybe the UFC isn't quite sure, and it's still a moving situation. It's still fluid. I think, you know, Francis Ngannou, his contract situation, and the injury puts the whole UFC heavyweight division in a really weird spot because we don't know who's next. I'm sitting here saying Ciryl and Tai Tuivasa are next, but I don't know. It could be John Jones and Stipe Miocic, but I don't know if they're actually going to fight. I know Tai Tuivasa and Ciryl Gane will fight on Saturday afternoon in Paris. I am pretty convinced that fight is going to happen. Watch it get canceled for some reason now, but I'm pretty convinced it's going to happen, right? I'm hoping. But, you know, I don't know if John Jones and Stipe Miocic is going to happen. And to me, the winner of that fight would be next against Francis just because of the name value. But if Tai Tuivasa knocks out Ciryl Gane on Saturday, I think a lot of people are going to say, oh, maybe Tai is ready here. Maybe it's Tai time. AJ doesn't believe that Tai Tuivasa will knock out Ciryl Gane, but I have seen a resurgence from Tai Tuivasa over the past few fights. This man is only 29 years old. He hits like a truck, 6'2", 265 pounds. This man is hitting the heavyweight limit. He is with tremendous training partners out in Australia where he's training. He is on another level right now, and he has won 5 in a row, all by knockout. Struve, Hunsucker, Greg Hardy, Augusto Sakai, and most recently, Derek Lewis. Tai Tuivasa is on a roll, and he's on the roll of his career. And again, 29 years old, all that power, all that danger, just getting better. He's dangerous.
Yeah,
he lost.
He's lost twice, and he got TKO'd twice. You know, times. So you know,
but
he got TKO'd. You know, he got TKO'd once, AJ, by Junior Dos Santos in 2018. In 2018, Tai Tuivasa was 24 years old. No, he lost to Blagoy Ivanov by decision, and he lost to Sergey Spivak with an arm triangle. Those are his 3 losses. And I'm going to say 1 TKO, 1 decision, UFC. 1 submission, AJ. Get it together.
Some guys, after 3 losses in a row, that's the end of their UFC career. So props to the UFC to have kept him there. And look, the guy has evolved since. And I look at these odds. I'm picking Ciryl Gane, okay? I'm going to pick Ciryl Gane as the winner. But, man, those odds are not very good for Ciryl Gane. Like, if I were to be a betting man, I might try that Tai Tuivasa at, what is he, like plus 400, something like that?
Yeah, plus 400. Right now at bet99.com, Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa by knockout, plus 533.
I mean,
listen, man,
or even a decision, man. I could see making it ugly. And
Tai Tuivasa by decision, plus 1,700. That's pretty good.
But I'm picking Ciryl Gane.
Just remember, it's 5 rounds, right? So let's not forget it. Tai Tuivasa, he has like a 5-inch reach disadvantage. He's 6'2", going up against Ciryl Gane at 6'4", who's never been knocked out, you know, in any of his fights. You've got a guy that Francis Ngannou could not knock out, and that's pretty clear, man. If you can't get knocked out by Francis, you know what? There's no way Tai is going to be able to knock out Ciryl Gane. And to be honest, the longer he goes in the fight, which is exactly Ciryl Gane,
wait.
He's gonna,
Stop.
He's going to
Stop everything. Stop everything. Derek Lewis didn't get knocked out by Francis, and Tai knocked him out, so your math doesn't add up, my friend.
Yeah,
Derek
but
Lewis
you know what?
fought Francis,
no.
beat Francis by decision, okay? Fought Francis, beat Francis, and Tai knocked him out. Now you're going to tell me, oh, Ciryl Gane fought Francis, and Francis didn't knock him out, so there's no way Tai can do it. No way Tai can do it.
But the guy,
Francis couldn't knock out Derek Lewis either. Tai did it.
Yeah, but you know what?
Tai can do it.
Okay. Listen, but Tai is a brawler, and that's exactly what that's his style of fighting.
He's
going to go up against a very stylistic guy. Yes, he is, man. I guarantee you, he's going to go with those wild
really good,
hitmakers. He's good, and he's going to get either knocked out, like in the latter rounds. There's no doubt about it, and that's one thing with Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane was the guy that technically was going to beat Francis Ngannou if he would have won that 5th round.
He didn't,
and that is clear.
If he would have defended
but it was close. But it was close, Dave. It was so close that it went to the 5th. to decide the fact that Francis won that fight. And if Ciryl Gane would have had control and been on top of him, Ciryl Gane would have been champion. And I'm going to tell you this: when they meet again, I'm still going with Ciryl Gane to finally beat Francis Ngannou. And Tai Tuivasa is just like that guy that's in the way. That's all it is. And no offense to Tai, but you're fighting a guy who is so good as a heavyweight, who moves like a lightweight, that has everything that you can ask for in a heavyweight. Man, just the way he fights reminds me of George. We said that many times. The way he hits is just as hard as any of these guys we're talking about.
Way he wrestles.
In submission, his submission skills are fantastic.
Not like
and
George.
One thing for sure, but he's not like George in wrestling. But let me tell you this: Ciryl Gane is just, he's just the guy that I'm telling you will one day be
You're in love with him.
The heavyweight champion.
I'm
in love with him because I love a good fighter.
Because you met him and anybody you meet in person and talk to, and they're kind of nice to you. You love him forever.
Touch you. You haven't washed.
He touched me. He did. He touched my soul. And I tell you, I was the first guy. I was the first guy on our team. I was the first guy to say, this guy here eventually is going to be a UFC heavyweight champion. And that was before the UFC. This was in the regional circuit in TKO. When I saw this guy fight, I'm like, what the hell is this? And now, as he's getting more and more experience, he's going to be
If AJ was Australian, he'd be talking about Tai Tuivasa right now. Hey, mate, Tai Tuivasa. I don't do Australian.
Don't talk about my dingo like that, David Silence.
Was American, and Tai Tuivasa came to train in his city.
Oh my
God. AJ would be pulling for
of
Tai
course,
Tuivasa.
100%. Patrick C. Hamilton dropping the lucky 777 super chat. Thank you, Patrick. He says, gonna put $20 on Tuivasa, could be worth it. $20 at Bet99 on Tai Tuivasa to win gets you 100. 20 gets you 100. 20 on Tai Tuivasa to win by knockout. Gets you more. Gets you more than that. Gets you. Let's see.
Did you see Ciryl
$20 on Tuivasa by knockout, 126.66. Now, again,
save your money, Pat.
I think Ciryl is the smart pick. However, the odds definitely make you think, maybe Tuivasa is worth a couple bucks. I think he is. I really do, because there's something about Tai Tuivasa in his past few fights. He's looking better and better. And you got to admit, when a guy is 29 years old and has spent the past 5-6 years in the UFC, he's going to learn something. He's tough. He's durable. He hits so hard. Don't underestimate Tai Tuivasa. Now, I think Ciryl Gane, because of his movement, because of his technical skill, will probably wind up winning.
Listen, man,
but
he can change it up.
Tai is going to be tough to put away. I think Tai is going to be tough to put away. I could see this going to a decision win for Ciryl Gane. I think it's either a Tai knockout or a Ciryl decision.
Listen, man, I'm going to tell you this. If Ciryl Gane takes down Tai and gets top mount, it's over. Like, it won't go down like an Usman, Edwards kind of like craziness. This is what's going to happen.
Good luck wrapping a double or a single leg on those giant legs of Tuivasa.
Yeah, man.
Good luck with that.
Man. Yeah, and you know that he's not going to. Yeah, he's huge. But I'm just saying, if it does end up on top, Ciryl Gane is going to end that fight pretty quickly.
I don't think it gets
and Ciryl Gane doesn't have to worry about takedowns from Tai Tuivasa.
Yeah,
I think there's zero jiu-jitsu in this fight. Zero.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I agree with you on that part, but man, holy smokes, man, you gotta you're talking about Ciryl Gane, who's just like stylistically, who can go from orthodox to southpaw, moves so well. He's got everything to be a champion. Tai Tuivasa is just a good fighter. Was really good in his early career, knocking out everybody. But man, you're talking about leading up to now. Is he better than he was before?
Yes.
I don't think so, man.
He is much better. He's knocked out 5 guys in a row.
Yeah, and look who he's knocked out. It's all like power punching guys who are not Ciryl Gane fighters. That's the difference. I'm telling you, man. I'm happy for Ciryl Gane going up against guys like this. Ça marche pas. Ça va être So
Ciryl knocked out Derek Lewis.
This three.
Tuivasa knocked out Derek Lewis. You know, Ciryl... Tuivasa's got way more knockouts. Tuivasa's got way more knockouts than Ciryl Gane does.
He's beating guys like Greg Hardy by KO. Come on, Dave. C'est quoi ça? C'est quoi ça? Big deal, man. And I love Derek Lewis, Black Beast. Best
Augusto
Instagram
Sakai.
account out there. Augusto Sakai, Dave.
All right, cool. I'm going with Ciryl Gane for the win, too. I think he wins by decision. I don't think he finishes Tuivasa, though. I'm just saying, I think there's value in Tuivasa. I think the odds are a little bit off, just like what Fred is saying. I agree with Fred, once again, because we're both very smart guys. I mean, I have a better hat, obviously, than Fred's crappy Houston Astros, because the Astros are terrible. They're cheaters. They only won one World Series.
Best team in the AL.
Yeah,
best team in '94 right here, man. They got robbed.
Yeah, well, who knows? They might have collapsed after the All-Star break like the Yankees are doing right now. It's possible.
Man, no, man. They're not the Yankees, Dave.
I mean, it'd be nice if they were the Yankees. They'd still be around.
No,
they'd still exist.
You got a point there. Yeah. You got a point, man.
I would appreciate that. So we all going with Ciryl Gane here for the win. How about Robert Whittaker and Marvin Vettori in the co-main event? AJ, are you going with your boy Vettori? I know you love Marvin Vettori because he's Italian, and you're Italian. Well, you're Canadian, but your parents are born in Italy, I think. Oh, yeah, AJ's Cuban. AJ's Cuban is a Fugazi Italian.
Hey, Chicano! Listen, man. What's the matter with Cuba, man? Actually, talk about Cuba. There's the Cuban Festival weekend in St. Sever here in Montreal. So if you're not from Montreal,
and
this weekend we have a great
Fred,
Cuban...
like, big invite. Like, hey, guys, come to the Cuban Festival, like, 2 hours away. I'm like, why? Are you Cuban or something? I don't understand why we're invited to this Cuban festival. AJ apparently goes every year because he's Cuban.
I'm telling you, man, it's a great experience. So if anybody's listening to the show that wants to have, like, what do I do for the Labor Day weekend?
Or watching
By the way, happy Labor Day. Watch the show. Watch Dave while you're out in St. Sever, you know, getting a few, like, you know, Cuba Libras and all the rest, man. It's a good time in St. Sever, I'm telling you, this weekend.
Okay.
Angelo.
Have a Cuban sandwich.
So are you going with Vettori or not?
Some cigars. Listen, man, this is going to be a tough one because you're talking Robert Whittaker and Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori is a beast, man. And when it's going to come down to is, like, if you look at his last three fights, the guy, I was looking at his stats and I was, like, flipping out. And I'm like, fuck, Marvin Vettori is really that good. He has over 26 minutes of control time.
He's picking Vettori, Fred. I can't believe this shit. Are you serious?
I know, and it's crazy. And I'm telling you, it's Robert Whittaker, but Marvin Vettori, 26 minutes of control time in 3 fights, where Robert Whittaker only had 8 minutes, which is respectable. It doesn't matter. But the thing is it's gonna be exactly that. Vettori is going to overwhelm Whittaker, is going to take him up against the octagon, bring him down, control the fight, and he's going to win by decision. Marvin Vettori.
He's going to out-wrestle Whittaker. He's going to out-wrestle him. Okay, Robert Whittaker.
He's going to control him.
And Marvin Vettori have very similar fight styles, except Robert Whittaker is better at everything. In every way.
Yeah, no, I agree with you to some extent.
Faster, stronger, better wrestler, better stand-up, better everything. They fight similar, but Whittaker's just like a better version of that. Even Israel Adesanya, who would know because he fought both guys twice. He fought both of them twice. He said, this main event's kind of lame, or co-main event is kind of lame. I don't really care about this fight because I already know who's going to win. Rob is going to destroy him. It's going to be easy. It's like it's not even like Adesanya's like, yeah, come on, man. Whittaker's got this shit. I don't understand AJ's side on this. Whittaker coming in minus 220, the favorite. Vettori plus 180, the underdog. And I guess AJ, you know, he can't help it but go with his Italian brothers, although we suspect he might be a secret Cuban working for Castro, maybe. I don't know. But AJ's going with Vettori, which is bananas. Fred, Whittaker, right?
Yeah, Whittaker should win this.
Come
on. What's the odds? Yeah, those odds make sense, man. Minus 220 for Whittaker, plus 180 Vettori. That's about how I have it. But Whittaker is probably the second best fighter in that division behind Adesanya. But actually, now that I say that, I just remember that Pereira is going to be the new champion soon. So,
yeah. Is he, though?
You guys saw that pic of him with Dominic Reyes?
No.
Pereira trained with Dominic Reyes, and he's fucking, like, much bigger than Dominic Reyes, who fights at 205.
So big. Pereira's so big and so scary, man. He might beat Adesanya. I was thinking about that fight just today. I was thinking about that today thinking, man, is Pereira going to beat Adesanya? I was like, man, you know, Adesanya, usually his fights, I'm like, oh, yeah, here comes another Adesanya. But I'm like, man, this Pereira guy, is he going to be the guy to do it?
I hope
he
so.
might.
Could be.
He might do it. I can see it. I'm looking forward to that fight. All right, I like Whittaker here. John McDessie taking on Nasrat Haqparast. These two guys used to train together at TriStar Gym, and there's some bad blood. McDessie is mad because, you know, it's kind of a thing with training partners. They don't want to fight each other, but then as soon as McDessie left the gym, Haqparast was calling him out, trying to fight him. So there's a little bit of beef between these two guys, and I think that's always fun. It's an interesting fight. I'm always looking forward to John McDessie's fights. He's from around here. I've been following his career since he wasn't in the UFC, since before his UFC run. So we've been watching John the Bull McDessie and his Bull Squad fight for a really long time now, right? Like, goddamn, when's the last time I saw him?
He's been in the UFC since 2010. Yeah, he's been around since 2010, and that's one thing with McDessie, man. He's
I was at
veteran.
His first pro fight. First pro fight, XMMA 5. It's Crow Time in Montreal in 2008. I was definitely at that fight.
Do you remember who he was fighting against?
Todd Westcott. He won by TKO in the first round. McDessie had amazing taekwondo. He was smashing people. He was fighting for Ringside MMA and XMMA and Mixed Fight League, fighting for Dirk Wardenberg there at the Mixed Fight League. That brings back some memories of the old school. Yeah, of course. Him and his son, Dimitri. Dimitri was a great fighter, too. Shout out to the Wardenbergs. Yeah.
But listen, McDessie, man.
McDessie's been fighting forever. It's funny, man. Like, he's roughly my age. And, yeah, he's been fighting since, you know, forever. And, yeah, I was at his pro fight in 2008. Made the UFC in 2010. And he's been with the UFC since 2010, which is kind of crazy. Like, he's had a very long UFC career.
He's, 37 years old now, man. Yeah. So the guy has been, I mean, he's up there, but when you look at McDessie, he ages really well. I mean, he still has pretty much the same skip that he had like 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And like, I had an opportunity to have him like teach me some wrestling stuff. I mean, at Glenn's gym one time, and we were there wrestling, and I was wrestling with McDessie. And let me tell you, man, the guy is a pit bull. It's amazing. He's just, an impressive fighter, man. You know, still like under the radar for a lot of like UFC fans. Yeah. But when you look at a veteran that's still going strong, man, you know, and he'll put out an action-packed fight. He's had some great fights where he's been on highlight reels like several times where you're like, holy smokes, who is this guy? McDessie. Yeah, from Montreal. Listen, impressive fighter.
Laval,
who's given a lot from Laval. Is he from Laval?
He's from Laval.
Oh, from Laval. Same thing. Laval, Montreal. You know, Come on, Dave.
I just want to give a shout out to Angelo. You know, I mean, I gotta, be clear. Our boy Angelo's from Laval as well.
He's from
Montreal too. I know that McDessie is from Laval. Oh, I just want to shout out Laval. All right, it's its own city. Listen, it's got its own mayor.
Yeah, but he trains in Montreal. Well, he was training a lot in Montreal, but still, yeah, they got their own mayor. That's true. You got a point. I think the last one got arrested or something like that.
I think they all get arrested. But you get arrested as soon as you get voted in over there. It's a crazy town. McDessie is fighting Nasrat. It's an interesting fight here. McDessie's coming in as the underdog. Plus, what is he here? I had it a second ago. Plus 190. Nasrat minus 244, the favorite. I don't know. Nasrat's got good boxing, but so does McDessie. McDessie's got some pretty nice kicks. This is an interesting fight. I know that they were supposed to fight a while ago, and it got rebooked to this card here. I think it's worth putting a couple bucks on McDessie as a single bet. I'm not going to throw him in my parlay, but I like this fight, and I like Makdessi over Nasrat as an underdog. All right?
How about that? Nasrat's 5-4, and he's on a 2-fight losing skid, man. It's going to be interesting, but I think Makdessi
has won 4 of his last 5.
I wonder if Faraz will be in that fight. Obviously, he won't be on Makdessi's side, but
no.
I
don't know.
I wonder if I don't know, man. It's a TriStar fight.
I don't know if Nasrat still trains in Montreal. I don't know if he's still there.
We'll find out. He was. Okay. I thought he was.
Yeah, I think he might be. Charles Jourdain trains in Montreal, not with TriStar though, with of course the BTT team and various people here in the city.
Brazilian top team.
But he is fighting here out of Montreal. He'll have Fabio Holanda in his corner.
They're already there. I mean, Fabio's there. You have the Matt Prince, which is Charles's brother, that's going to be there, who's trying to get into the UFC. Louis is impressive, man. He just fought boxing not too long ago. I mean, this guy he's something special as well. I hope he gets the opportunity to showcase his stuff like on a world-class level at some point. But if you get these guys together, man, they're going to be I keep saying all the time, like the Nick and Nate Diaz of like Quebec. These guys are super funny, super wild, and super skilled. And I hope it works out, man. Like, I get to see Charles, not as much like since COVID, but like, with Fabio and that, he's like a really Class A guy, man. Super cool. He actually trains at BTT and gives a striking class every Saturday. And that's the type of guy he is, man. Like, success didn't get to his head. And he's always out there to perform. He's got screwed in a lot of fights throughout his career where he should have got the W, and it went the other way where it was just ridiculous. So on paper, it looks like he has those losses. But the truth of the matter is that those losses were pure bullshit where Jourdain should have won. And you know what? It's true, man. But the guy comes out.
He's got some losses, but they should all have been wins. That's classic.
Yeah, they should have been. Yeah, but they're bullshit. You know that too, Dave. Let's be honest, man. But
I'll agree with you just to avoid the...
No, listen, we know one thing, that Jourdain is not an easy guy to fight. Even if you're going to beat him, you have to really beat him. He's not going to give it to you. And that's what I like about Charles Jourdain. He comes out and makes it a show. And, Dana White loves this kid, man. The UFC brass loves him. Why? Because he performs, and he really likes his job. So, you know what? I wish him the best. And, he's a great representative of Quebec. I mean, if you've seen him a few times, or if you had the opportunity to hear him, talk about his fights, very humble kid. He has a lot to say, and you know what? He's a very, very good ambassador, again, to Quebec martial arts.
Just 26 years old, too. Still hasn't even entered his prime in MMA. Always evolving, always getting better. I look forward to seeing what new tricks Charles Jourdain has for us on Saturday afternoon. Jourdain is the favorite as well here, minus 157. Wood, plus 125, the underdog. And that's where I'm going to start my parlay. And I'm going to give you the Team Dave parlay right here and right goddamn now. Are you ready?
I love it. I'm ready, bud. Do it. Sure? Hit me with your best shot. Hit me with your best shot.
I'm going to go with Ciryl Gane, minus 625. Whoa. I think he pulls it off. I think he wins. Probably a decision over Tuivasa. I've got Robert Whittaker. I think that's a slam dunk. Whittaker to win this fight by decision in 3 rounds. I like Whittaker by decision as well. And Charles Jourdain, minus 157. 3 favorites, 3 parlays. Nothing too crazy. $20 gets you $56.62 over at bet99.com. So just over double your money here at Bet99. Going with a 3-fight parlay. Gane, Whittaker, and Jourdain. It is the UFC Paris Team Dave parlay.
Hit me
Freddie,
with your
you got one?
Shot.
Yeah, take off Gane and put Saint Denis, and that's my parlay.
There you go.
Benoit Saint Denis. Tabarnouche, Freddie, you're right on that one.
That's a good one.
Saint Denis.
Saint Denis, sweet.
Saint Denis. Man, I'm having trouble zooming in.
Don't mess with the French.
What's going on with this stupid window?
What's going on, Dave?
Shut up, AJ. You don't know how to do internet.
I'm waiting for oh yeah, there's Angelo. I was looking to see if he had his trademark saying, but he's there. You got it, Angelo. I missed it, but you called it. Hit me with your best shot.
You got St.
Hey, man,
Dennis?
you know what?
What?
St. Dennis, man. I was looking at Rick Springfield. I don't know if you know Rick Springfield, Dave. You're too young for this shit. You don't know.
No.
But probably Freddie.
I don't want you going into all this. Team Fred Parlay. Shut the fuck up. Team Fred Parlay. He's going with Whittaker, Jorge, and St. Dennis. $20 gets you $64.71 over at Bet99.com. Ooh, nice parlay. Benoit St. Denis, Charles Jourdain, and Robert Whittaker. So there you go.
Hit me.
And AJ, what do you have?
So let me finish with the Rick Springfield.
No.
The guy is 72 years old and he looks amazing, man. I could not believe it. I just had to say that, Dave. Come on.
I don't really know who that is.
Of course you wouldn't.
Fred doesn't know either. Because you're old as fuck and we don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so is it my turn, Dave? You want me to give you the real win? What are you talking about? He looks fantastic, man. He was performing with his shirt off. He looks amazing, man.
He looks evil.
Well, it's possible. Hollywood.
No, I'm not even showing his picture. I'm disturbed. I don't even know who he is. All right.
So, okay, here we go. So, for Le Paris, I'm going to take my baguette. So, this is it, man. Go with
Give me your parlay, motherfucker. Stop fucking around.
Man, you know what I'm going to say. I don't even have to say
Ciryl
the first pick. You know I'm going with... Exactly,
Marvin Vettori. Alessio Di Chirico.
Yes, Dave. Next.
John McDessie.
Yes. I'm going to stay away from this fight. Yes.
The guy named Magomedov because you're a mark for that shit.
Dude, no? You know what? I was going to go with that, but I'm not going to start my fight with any prelim fights because
you always lose.
This is I always lose on this. But when you got a name like Magomedov in there, chances are
but
he's from Dagestan.
He's from Germany.
Is he from Germany?
Well, I don't know. He's fighting out of Germany, so it's not as good if they're fighting out of Russia.
He's from Dagestan, dude.
Ciryl Gane, Marvin Vettori, Alessio Di Chirios, John McDessie, and Charles Jourdain. It is a multi-fight parlay from AJ. Yeah, Cheerios. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-fight parlay from AJ. Gane, Vettori, Cheerios, McDessie, and Jourdain. $20 gets you $624.16. Damn, the payout to AJ's parlay is way better than Team Fred or Team Dave. But you're picking a lot of fights. You got a couple underdogs there. Vettori needs to win. Yeah.
Who's the other underdog?
McDessie.
Well, man,
I'm doing solo bets.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm giving you solo. Shut up, AJ. I'm giving you solo bets on McDessie. $20 on McDessie gets you 58 at Bet99. I'll give you a solo bet on that. I'll give you a solo bet on Fares Ziam. Ziam. I think he gets a win. He is an underdog plus 162. $20 gets you 52 just on Fares Ziam. I like Fares over Figlak. I like McDessie over Hakparast. And I also think that Joaquin Buckley is good value over Imavov. I think Buckley is always live and always dangerous, especially if you're going to do a solo bet on Buckley, I would go Buckley by knockout. I would put a couple of bucks on that Buckley by knockout because we all know he's got some nice knockout power.
Yeah, but Imavov is just a solid fighter, man. Solid chin, never been KO'd before. And the thing with Buckley is they really had it right in the saying. He either kills or he gets killed. I'm telling you, I personally would stay away from that fight. I mean, that could be an either or. I don't think Buckley has enough to say, yeah, he's going to win this fight hands down.
That's why you put a couple bucks on him by knockout because, like you said, he's kill or be killed, and he might kill.
I think he will be killed on this fight, but I'm not putting it on my parlay.
Guys, next week, Nate Diaz is going to beat Chimaev, and then he's going to fight Leon Edwards and beat Edwards, and then we're going to have Nate Diaz versus McGregor for the title.
And beat McGregor, and Diaz walks away.
Oh, baby.
As the best ever, man. Greatest fighter that ever walked in the UFC.
That'd be pretty
listen,
good.
man, it's a possibility.
I would like that. Next week we are on here, and we'll be previewing the Nate Diaz-Khamzat Chimaev fight, UFC 279, and we'll be doing a watch-along for UFC 279 as well next Saturday, September 10th. I was invited to a party next Thursday, but I don't think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to party with you guys and do the show. Okay?
Where, man?
AJ, I think, was invited too, but I'm not going to tell AJ about it.
What?
Yeah,
we're both on a Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it
How old are you guys?
I'm too old for this, or maybe too young for this. I'm not even sure.
There's a party?
Yeah, but I don't really want to go.
Come on, Dave. If I'm invited, you're invited. We gotta go. Yeah, why isn't Fred invited?
I think you were, Fred. I think you were.
Was it Stefan Patrick again?
I just didn't. I didn't think you. I knew you didn't want to go, and I knew AJ did want to go. But I don't think I'm gonna go. So AJ, you can't go.
What's up with you? Why are you being like that, Dave? Come on, that's not cool.
Well, we got to do a show next Thursday, right?
Yeah, but I'll go after the show.
Nah, you're good.
That's the thing. It's bedtime after the show.
Yeah, it's bedtime. You know how early I have to wake up in the morning to get my son to school? My son's in kindergarten now.
And I'm supposed to be the oldest guy here. Seriously, guys?
Yeah, well, me and Fred are actually doing jiu-jitsu all the time, so we're tired.
Not like you
lazy asshole. Eh? You lazy fuck.
Listen, man, you know what? Like, AJ, man, COVID, like, put me up 15 pounds, I'll be honest, man, but I've been training like crazy. I've cut down. People are like, okay, AJ, you're looking good. I'm telling you, Dave, I'm cutting down, man. I'm going to – listen, at one point, I was close to 198, so that's a pretty big AJ there, man.
Fred, I'll see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow, baby.
No, man, I got to go to IKEA.
Oh, what?
I'm going to buy it.
You don't skip jiu-jitsu for IKEA. That's fucking bullshit.
Sorry,
yeah, man. The hot dogs are amazing, man.
You do, man. if you, happy wife, happy life.
Wow. Fred.
Unless you're Wayne Bobbitt. But
did you go Monday?
Yeah, I was there with you Monday.
Oh, yeah, I was there Monday.
But then I didn't go Tuesday because I told you I put my mouthpiece in the dryer and it fucking stuck to my bag.
Oh,
that sucks, man.
Did you go Wednesday?
Neither, man.
Oh.
But Wednesday was canceled. Wednesday, there was an issue.
Right.
Show up, so.
Well, let's go to Open Mat on Saturday. Week, well, then go Monday, to Open Mat on Saturday. Make up for it, brother. Let's do it.
I'm probably going to train with my buddy Dwayne tomorrow here.
All right.
Oh, your buddy Dwayne. He's nice. Like that funny guy, man.
I'll be at 10th Planet tomorrow, 10 a.m., baby.
Good, man.
I'm hyped. Good session today. Great class today.
Love Phil.
Get it together, AJ. Come train with me.
Yeah, I'd like to, man. I'm serious. Soon, man. Soon. I'm almost there, man.
Thank you, Angelo. Angelo dropping a super chat.
Angelo.
He says... Great show, guys. Laval. Enjoyed it very much. Thank you, Angelo. You're the Super Chat leader of the night. Appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you to all the members. Silent by Deadly, Angelo Contagonis, Patrick C. Hamilton. Thank you to the members. We appreciate you guys, especially keeping us going. Don't forget to subscribe. Become a member of the team. Join.ringsidereport.net. Join.ringsidereport.net. Support the channel. Just $5 a month. Helps us quite a bit to give you all the great content that we do. We have a huge weekend coming up. It's going to be tough on Big Daddy Dave because Big Daddy Dave's going to have to stay up real late. Fred, I got to stay up so late. I don't think I'm coming to jiu-jitsu on Monday is what I'm saying. Also, I'm going to the fair, and it's Labor Day, too. I think I'm taking Labor Day off. But Monday, I'm not going to be there, but Tuesday I'll be there, and I'll make up for it. I'll make up for it Tuesday and then Thursday and Friday.
What fair?
Brome Fair. I'm on Monday to go buy some fudge.
Shit, man.
You coming?
Maybe I'll come with you, man. Yeah,
I'm going to
not?
the Brome Fair on Monday, Labor Day Monday. You should all go. Fred, you coming?
Come. Freddie, let's do it, man. Get Angelo. Angelo, come to
Brome. Yeah.
That's far.
It's the best, man.
It's a little far, but it's worth it. It's a good fair.
Actually, I think it's closer to Freddie than it is to us.
For sure.
It's the Eastern Townships, man.
Yeah. Brome Fair, Fred. We're going on Monday. I'm going with the family. AJ's going with his family. Fred has to come now too. If you look around, the Ringside Report team will be at the Brome Fair on Monday. All right?
Yeah.
I might be selling fudge. Gear, man. You might be buying fudge from Dave on Monday.
What? Is it like that special fudge, the one that you wanted to give me once?
No, it's not. It's real fudge. It's the best fudge at Brome Fair. It's a corner booth right as soon as you walk in the door in the building. The booth right there to your left. Fudge. Go buy it.
Demolition Derby.
No, I'm not bullshitting you. It's delicious fudge.
And you're selling it?
Well, I'm not selling it personally, but let's just say the family is selling it.
What?
Not
the Simons are in the fudge business?
No, not the Simons. Not the Simons. The Camerons.
The Camerons are in the fudge business? What the hell, man? It's all news to me.
For years.
So get me a freaking new camera then with all that money that you have.
Grampy sells the fudge. Grampy's not giving me any. You don't know Grampy too well. He's not giving me any of his fudge money. I'm telling you that much.
Let me talk to him. I'll work something out.
That guy. That guy has money from he gave me $20 and it's like paper. Like it's not the plastic money we have now. It's like a paper 20. And I'm like, where do you? And then he pays with this money, and I'm like, well, how come he's? What is all this paper money? I don't understand what's going on. He's got paper money.
Man, in his pillow, man.
It's I know. Something.
It's
I don't know.
Italian style, man.
Well, he's not giving it out, is what I'm saying. You're not getting it for new cameras, AJ. All right? But go buy fudge on Monday because it's going to be really good. And I'm going to be there at the Brome Fair, and it's going to be a good time.
I'm coming, man.
But before that, I'm going to be super tired because Sunday night I'm staying up real late to watch AEW All Out. And then I'm going to do a post show for that here on the Ringside Report Network. Okay? Post show, Sunday night, All Out. These AEW pay-per-views end at like midnight, so it's going to be rough. I'm going to need a lot of coffee Sunday night. And then Saturday, it's a nice WWE afternoon show, which is cool. So tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right after SmackDown, Johnny and I will be previewing both WWE Clash at the Castle and AEW's All Out because it's a big wrestling weekend. Big-time pro wrestling, WWE show on Saturday afternoon, and then the AEW pay-per-view on Sunday night. CM Punk and Jon Moxley once again.
I prefer All In, but I'll be watching.
You don't... Okay. Are you going to come for All Out, AJ? You going to watch All Out?
Yeah, man, I'm going to watch it.
All right.
I'm telling you, I'm going to watch it.
Who's Jon Moxley?
I think that was the... Jon Moxley. Let me think.
Tell me something you know about Jon Moxley. Anything.
That guy was on the show. That guy was on the show called The Dukes of Hazzard. I remember him. He was cool, man. What about him?
Okay. He's wrestling CM Punk. He's the current AEW World Champion. I don't think he was on the Dukes of Hazzard, though. He was in the Shield.
He's a Dixie guy, man.
He was the third best guy in that
group. Close. There you go, man.
I mean, what, was he better than Vic Mackey? Shane Vandrell?
I haven't started that.
Was he better than...
I haven't started the TV show
Curtis
The Shield.
Lemansky?
No, I'm talking about The Shield.
Fred. Keep going,
Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, The Shield. Believe that.
Yeah, but could these guys honestly beat the Ultimate Warrior? I don't think so, man. That's who I know.
What do you mean? Like
in wrestling, man.
Would they be booked to beat the Warrior now?
Never.
Or
not now.
Could they beat him in a real fight? Or I don't really understand the question.
All of the above, man. Let's be honest, man. No one could beat the Ultimate Warrior.
Well, Warrior's dead, so nobody's wrestling him now. And in his prime, he was really muscular, but I don't know if he can actually fight.
What? So... Are you joking, man? Don't mess with the Warrior, dude. I love the Warrior.
I think you and Warrior share the same political views, which is crazy. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Feel the power of the Ultimate Warrior. I'll be back here tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, for the Wrestling Uncensored show with Johnny North, where we'll be previewing both wrestling pay-per-views coming up this weekend right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.